Hello, everyone. This is me, KG Chris Gardner of the Houston Round Ball Review. And joining me is, for his first of hopefully many of our conversations and chats throughout his Houston Cougars women's basketball career, is head coach Matthew Mitchell. Coach, how are you doing?
Fantastic, Chris. Thanks so much for having me on. And I'm looking forward to our many conversations and talking about Houston women's basketball. We are so excited to be here, so excited for the opportunity, and we've landed in a very special spot.
And let's start from there. You had the introductory press conference roughly 3 weeks ago. I want to ask you again, why Houston?
Oh gosh, it'd be easier to answer why. I would say why not Houston? It's just everything is here, is in place. So I think it starts for me as everything that will happen in our program. I think the most valuable asset is people, and so when you think about the energy around the university, it's such a first-class academic institution. I've been so excited to learn about the quality of the institution, and so we have great leadership here. Um, President Couture has just done an amazing job of elevating the university to new heights, and she continues to do that. And when I first talked to Eddie about his vision for just Houston athletics in general and the people that are here in the athletic department, that got me very excited. Um, but I think alluded to it in the press conference. In my career, have never been in a place that was so close to so much talent. And so really the city and the players that have been in the city and have shown what kind of talent is for women's basketball, the current players who are in college and now in the transfer portal who are from Houston and who are interested in coming back, down to the high school and the junior high talent. It's just amazing talent. And so that's a basketball coach's dream, because, Chris, I have only been able to have success in coaching because I've been able to attract very, very good players, and they've played very good basketball and championship level basketball. So really the people in all aspects, I think, makes this just one of the most attractive places you could possibly dream of being in coaching women's college basketball.
You coached at Kentucky, had a lot of success at Kentucky. You stepped away from Kentucky. What were you doing between that time at Kentucky to now to get back into coaching at Houston?
Yeah, so I think it's been pretty well documented. I had an accident that had me, take a medical leave and eventually step away from Kentucky to try to get my health in order. And my physical health was great. I think it was a time. It had been a pretty tumultuous time for everybody, and so for me, it was just a great time to step back and figure out what the next step. So over the last 4 years, I've been building a company, a leadership company, a consulting company that goes into businesses and any really high performance team that wants to work better as a team, that wants to increase their leadership. So I've been consulting in businesses all over the country in all different sorts of industries. I've written a couple of books that help people with their personal growth and their leadership. And so I've been writing, I've been speaking, I've been consulting, coaching, and it's been amazing. The preparation that's given me, and the clarity that's given me, and the energy that's given me to now return back to the court, and never lost connection with the game. Used that time to learn and to spend time with other coaches and other programs. I did some TV work, which allowed me to really get up close to some programs and see how other people did it. So that was beneficial. And the final piece, coached my daughters in middle school and just had a blast. And it reaffirmed my passion for teaching and coaching and being on the sidelines and being on the courts and practices. And those fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth graders were a joy to coach, and really made sure I stayed connected to the game. So that's what I've been doing these past 4 years.
What did you learn, or what did you take from the the leadership, all of that. Did you learn something during those 4 years that you did not know that you're going to bring to your coaching at Houston?
Well, I built the leadership company off of content that I had created over 15 years as a Division I head coach. When I started out at Morehead State University, that school had won 5 games the season before, and
Right.
and we wanted to win. We wanted to turn that around. We wanted to increase the performance. We wanted to increase the success, and the way you did that was to win basketball games. And so the way I wanted to organize and build the program, I wanted to find the tools that you needed to use each and every day, and that's what we named it, our winning tools, and that's our principles that guide us. So honesty, hard work, discipline, not real complicated concepts, but very powerful. And so those 3 things, I eventually built an entire leadership system based on that, called the winning tools. And so just being able to get all of that. So the thing that I always wanted a player to do, I never wanted her to sit through the same meeting twice. I never wanted to teach honesty the same way twice. I wanted to keep them engaged. And so I had all of this content created over 15 years of meetings and pep talks and presentations. And so really what I was able to do is refine the system and really be able to communicate on the front end what we're trying to do from a character standpoint, from a principle driven standpoint. And I thought that was of great benefit. I also learned a lot about leading in dynamic business situations. And Chris, since I'm returning to the game, the dynamics of college athletics have changed with the transfer portal being more prevalent. It was starting to percolate a little bit at the end of my tenure at Kentucky, but it was not anywhere close to what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the financial piece, that name, image, likeness, the revenue share, all of that financial dynamic that exists now. I think being in the business world, one, and just understanding that the business world is dealing with talent retention all the time, and learning how to make an experience valuable beyond the paycheck. And so I got to really get into business and teach people some things that I saw that were very effective. Also, the connections I made in business, I think us being in the 4th largest city in the country, in a major media market with so much commerce going on, and the ability to build a program that's attractive and bringing attractive young people, young leaders, players that can help businesses move forward and promote their business. I think I've learned a lot about that. And so I really feel like my 4 years away probably equipped me more than anything else. So I'm excited about what I learned in my time building my business.
I'm going to take you back to bring us forward. At the press conference, I walked in with Houston icon, legend, Van Chancellor, and you mentioned, well, both of y'all mentioned your relationship with him, but I want to go back just a little bit different. I also know you were on Coach Pat Summitt's staff at Tennessee.
Yeah.
So talk about what you learned from Coach Summitt first, and then Coach Chancellor.
Yes. So because of those two things were connected. Coach Chancellor was coaching Kim Roseman at Ole Miss. Kim Roseman is now the championship-winning head coach at Tennessee Tech and a long-time college basketball coach, very successful. Kim and I went to the same high school. We were 4 years apart, but we were in football country. We were basketball junkies. We loved basketball, so we'd be the only 2 kids in the gym shooting all the time. And so we stayed connected all of our life. And so she was playing at Ole Miss and started working Coach Summitt's camp in the summer. And so Coach Summitt had over 1,000 campers. And so she was really trying to get the camp staff. It had exploded, and people were coming from all over the world, all over the country to come to her camp. So Kim had worked it. I had just started out as a high school teacher and coach. She said, "Hey, this is a really cool spot up here with a really great coaching staff and fun people. You should come work this camp, and you can learn a lot, and you can make some money, make a little bit of money and have a good time this summer." So Kim introduced me to Tennessee camp. I started going to Tennessee camp, and I worked for 4 summers, and I just kept getting more responsibility. And so finally, they noticed something in me that they saw some potential. And Coach Summitt and her top assistant, Mickey DeMoss, both Hall of Fame coaches, both legends in the game, hired me as a graduate assistant in the 1999-2000 season. So what I learned among many thousands of things that I learned, the biggest thing was she was as busy and there were as many people in search of her time, and there were more demands on her time than, I don't know, any human being on earth, maybe the president of the United States, but she was so busy. But when she hit that floor, when she got into the planning session for practice and she hit the floor for practice, she was so consistent with how she wanted to coach Tennessee Lady Vol basketball. And it was defense, and it was rebounding, and it was toughness. And those 3 things, she was devoted to upholding the standard every single day. And so her consistency, there's so many things that she could do that I never could do or never will accomplish. But that was the one thing I held on to. I said, you know what? I need to develop that in my coaching. I need to know what we're going to be about. I need to be able to identify that. And then I need to show up every single day and be as consistent as possible. And what I learned through that is that consistency will really bolster your dependability, and people will only trust you as much as they can depend on you. And so it's such an important part of being a coach who can be trusted. And there's really nothing, I don't know that there's anything more valuable than if you can build that trust with your players, because then they will trust you to push them beyond that limit that they all think they can't go anymore. And we all have that extra gear, but you have to be able to build tremendous trust with them. And that's what Coach Summitt was able to do. So that's the one thing I've always tried to model after her. And then Coach Chancellor, going back to him, when I decided to enter the coaching profession at a very low level of junior high and high school coaching, Coach Chancellor was from my hometown and a legend in my hometown. We actually, he played on the first team that this famous basketball coach in our little town coached, and I played on his last team. So we were separated by many, by a couple generations, but we played for the same coach, and so we had that connection. But he started to allow me to come to Oxford and watch his practice and watch his games. And so I got to see Van Chancellor practice. I got to see Coach Summitt bring Tennessee into Oxford. I got to see Andy Landers. I started to see what great coaching looked like, and it was very inspirational. And so then we all know what he's meant to this city and bringing the championships to Houston and showing what excellence looks like in women's basketball in the city. And that's why I feel so grateful that he's still here. He's still a great mentor of mine. He's still a supporter that's going to help get me connected to people to get them excited here in the city. So it's an amazing part of life's journey that we've been so closely connected and spent all of our career really in the SEC. And now he landed in Houston. So Chris, if I can have half his success, he won 4 championships. That I'm not going to get greedy. Give the Cougs a couple of national championships, and we'll be so excited. But he's an inspiration and a great friend and great mentor to me.
Coach, I'll tell you this: one of my proudest days is I was covering the Comets, and Coach Chancellor asked I was the youngest one on the Comet beat, basically. And he asked one of my colleagues who were a mentor, he's like, tell me about that young man over there. He's always here. He's always here. And my mentor vouched for me. And ever since then, Coach Chancellor brought me into his media circle. And I was just so happy and thrilled. And we've had that working relationship ever since then. So seeing him and his connection with you, it is kind of a full circle moment, how it all works out together.
Yeah.
Now, your staff, you put it together. Just tell me a few words about your staff in general. One of the people I knew when she was at Jones High School in Texas A&M, Demetri Buchanan, but just talk about your staff.
Well, there's so much talent, as we talked about earlier in the interview, Chris, here in Texas. And I always think that to build a great program that is interesting to your fans, that local talent is so important. I just think that people are proud of their own. And this was the case in Kentucky. When a Kentucky kid would make a basket, the cheer was just a little bit different. And so in 13 seasons as the head coach, we had 3 first-team players. Excuse me. We had 3 first-team All-SEC players from the state. And people were crazy about those players, because they appreciated them being their own, being their local kids that they wanted to cheer for. And so now when we think about, I'm sorry, Chris, we're going to stop for a second.
That's fine. No problem.
I think that got it. Okay. Woo, that got me. Okay, I'm back.
All right.
Okay, so I believe local talent is so important to exciting your fans and building a program that's not only competitively successful, but is interesting and connects to your fan base. And there's so much great talent in Houston, in the city, and in the state of Texas. I thought it was very important to build a staff that had great knowledge and connections in the state of Texas. And I recruited the state of Texas all of my career, had some great contacts, have some great contacts, but I thought that was my first thought was, hire the best people, but let's look at people that have great connections to the state and to the region. And so we were able to accomplish that with Demetria Buchanan from the city. She's so excited to be back in Houston. She was a great player here in the state at Texas A&M, really helped them build that program, and was so highly regarded by people that I respect. And so I knew the first time we connected that she was a special person, and it didn't take us long to hit it off. And so well-respected veteran coach, can really connect with people, can really recruit the right kind of people that we want to have success with. And so thrilled about her. Anthony Anderson was recommended to me by someone I greatly respect here in the state. And I was asking, I said, I need someone who knows the state, knows the relationships, is a tireless worker. And Anthony was recommended to me, and he's been at so many different places here in the state of Texas, has worked at some places that didn't have all the resources, and that he just had to make it happen with his determination and his grit. And that's really shown through in the first few weeks working together. I've been so impressed with him. And then Marqu'es Webb has been in the Big 12 for the past couple of years, recommended to me by Kim Roseman, who I referenced before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Chris, this means I'm getting old, but I watched Marqu'es play in high school, and then I coached against her when she was a tough player at Vanderbilt. So
Mm-hmm.
I always thought a lot of her as just a person. Didn't know her hadn't been connected to her in a while, but she was a person that Kim Roseman said, listen, if you don't hire her, there's something wrong with you. You've got some problems there. So we hit it off. Another just amazingly intelligent person, hard worker, connector, doing a great job. And then I'm so proud of Denisha Stallworth. She was at Boston College last year, but she played for me and at Kentucky. And she and I had been in contact all year just with her wanting mentorship in her coaching journey, and just, hey, what would you do to motivate a player, and these kind of things. So I knew she was serious about her profession, but then I knew she could tell a story that really no one else could tell. She transferred. She was a transfer, and in this era of transfers, and especially right now, we're building the team with so many transfer players. She was a high school All-American and was having success in the Pac-12 at Cal Berkeley, but she felt like she had another level she could go to. And so she made the decision to leave home and leave the Bay Area and transfer to Kentucky and play for us. And she made good on her desire to step into her potential. She gave so much effort and worked so hard, and she's a great success story. And so hers is a powerful story to tell a player what the program can do for her. And so really excited about Denisha. My chief of staff was the very first person I started building the staff with, Chris, Amy Tilley. And she runs everything on the operations side. She knows the game of basketball great, but she knows how we do what we do. She takes care of everything. She is just such a trusted advisor to me. And she started at Kentucky as a recruiting, administrative recruiting assistant, and worked her way all the way up to chief of staff. And so she knows every part of the program. And she has allowed me to focus on the people and get the staff in place and get the recruiting in place. And that's the most vital thing we can do right now. But simultaneously, the program is running and is getting established and running very professionally and efficiently because of her talent and her dedication to what we do. So, and have been so incredibly grateful for the people here at Houston. So all of our support staff has just been so welcoming and so productive and efficient, and has helped us navigate from the student managers that we inherited to everybody in the administration and support staff. So I am very blessed in the people area, and it's giving me a lot of confidence to go out and communicate with future Cougs on what a quality place this already is. And our staff is going to help us move forward and going to help us win.
One of the things that you mentioned in our media scrum with you after the press conference on the stage was you want to be a builder of relationships and have relationships that are not transactional. Just how important is that to you?
Oh, it's very important. It's just one of the things that makes life worth living to me is everybody has a different talent for different things, and mine is coaching. And to me, coaching is transforming atmospheres, environments, opportunities, people's lives, relationships. If I can lift a fan spirit in a quick interaction, but just by genuinely trying to connect and letting a fan know, buying a ticket and their presence and their volume and their voice, and when they're cheering us on, it matters. And so being able to express that appreciation and helping transform a fan base and what they mean to what they can get out of it, but also what they're giving to us is we want to give them great entertainment. We want to give them that connection to their school and their city that just gives you a feeling that's hard to put a price on. We want to do that for them. What they do for us is also creating the energy that helps us succeed. And so transactional is not all that interesting to me. You give me something, I give you something in return, and that's it. Building those relationships is just a joy to me. I enjoy it. I enjoy people. I enjoy helping people. and it just makes life worth living. It's what you look back on, and I do such a poor job trying to remember all the records and the accolades and the scores to the games and all that, but I don't ever forget the relationships with the players or the coaches or the administrators or the fans. That's where the value in life is for me.
Coach, now we're going to talk briefly about your roster for right now, as of April 23rd/24th. How many players are on the roster for this coming season, and how many spots do you have to fill?
So right now we have 8 players on the roster, and that's a combination of returners, of high school signees that have remained committed from the previous staff. Coach Huey signed 2 real quality young women that we're so grateful they're staying and going to attend Houston, and so we're excited about that. So we're at 8 now, and I would think in the coming days that's going to increase. We're very optimistic about some people who are involved and that we're involved with, and I have been thrilled with the interest in our program. I have been grateful for people who knew me at my previous stop at Kentucky, helping me paint the picture to some of these players that have not known exactly what I did. I've been so grateful for that. And through all of the assistant coaches' effort and all of the time that we've spent communicating the message, I'm just thrilled with what the possibilities are for the roster. And here's what I will tell you, that we are trying to find the right people to establish our culture. And what your culture is who you are and how you act and the results you get day after day after day. And it doesn't mean you win every game, but it means every opportunity you find value in either celebrating a great victory and figuring out the lesson you learned on how you got that, or celebrating some challenge that you faced and the lesson you learned on how to do something different, or how you learned how to solve a problem. That's what we want it to be. And we want this to be a culture and a program where a player comes and it's valuable for her in the near term, and it's valuable for her in her experience and her present experience as a college basketball player. But simultaneously, we want that to be building value in them as people and in their character, so they have that long after they cease to be a valuable basketball player, because that happens for everyone and at some point in time. And so we're looking for people who are interested in that. And so that goes back to a transformational mindset, because there are a lot of transactional things happening in college athletics right now. There are a lot of situations that are based solely on a transaction and solely on what's the amount of money I can make. And that is one way to do it. That's not how we're doing it here. We are really trying to help players move forward and be successful financially within the framework of what we have to operate with here at Houston. But so much more important for us to find people who are interested in still learning and growing and earning a championship mindset and a championship modus operandi. Those are the things that are still interesting to us here at Houston. And so I'm very confident that we're going to put together an exciting team that is built on our winning tools. That's going to be honest, and it's going to be hardworking. It's going to be disciplined, and we are looking forward to a very, very competitive team next year.
Coach, in this NIL transfer era, you got majority of your players stayed. So what was your message to get them to believe in you, because they didn't know you before, to not go into the portal and decide to return to Houston for another season?
Well, we had the benefit of knowing who we are and being able to communicate that clearly on the front end. So I was able to deliver that message just from a baseline. So maybe that was of some interest to some of the people. And then we have been able to interact. We've been able to get on the court and give them some idea of what it looks like from a basketball perspective. And so that probably helped some. And then when we have seen, we've been very honest. When we've seen things that work and are going well, we've pointed that out. And when we've seen things that are not going to work and be up to the standard, we've pointed that out. So I think clear communication has possibly helped with that. And so we are interested in players that have enough talent to play in the Big 12. So that's very important. You have to be talented enough, that have the skill to do that. And you just have to, you don't have to have all the talent and all the skill, but you just have to have enough talent. And then you have enough skill, and then we can help you and increase your skill, which can increase your productivity as a player. And then you have to have enough energy. And so we're really focused in on what kind of energy is someone bringing. Are they bringing a coachable, a curious energy, a growth mindset energy, or are they coming with, a transactional energy? So that helps us find the right people to be involved with. And I think it's so important for us this first year to really have a team that reflects who we are, and that we're more focused on the process. And then we've always been proving this in our program. We've been able to get the outcomes that you want, but we're really, really trying to be dedicated in our pursuit of people who understand what we are building here.
The roster is currently at 8. Do you have a number in your mind how many more you want to add to the roster?
Not sure. I think it all comes into the construction of the team. And I think it depends on, can you sign a player that's versatile and can do many things? So then that can take care of another spot, or do you need to add, some ingredients to shore up the team so you can have a highly functioning team? So I don't have a number. We can go up to 15. Not sure right now. Just would hate to limit us to any kind of say, yeah, we're going to go to 15 or we're going to stop at 12. I don't have as clear a picture there. I have an idea of how it's taking shape, and if some dominoes fall, I think we're just going to be in really good shape. We're already in. I'm thrilled with where we are right now with our 8, and know we're going to add some more, but not sure where that will end up.
Have you had a chance to finalize the non-conference schedule for this coming season?
We are in process on that. I think we're very close, and we like where we are there, but that is still has some work to do. But I think we're getting really close and feel like we're in a good spot there.
2 more things, because both of us are going to the celebration for the men's team.
That's exciting. Yep.
And we're going to talk more and more throughout the month, summer, all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to give everything away in this first one.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on the Big 12 competing in the Big 12?
Excited. Incredibly excited. Great players, great coaches, great institutions, historic institutions. And for me, just so excited to be the new kid on the block, and my first trip around the conference, know so many of the coaches, have so much respect for the level of play in the Big 12. And you just saw some fantastic basketball. My 13-year-old Sailor, 13-year-old daughter, who's a basketball player, she got so obsessed with basketball this past season. we watched basketball just about every night in the Mitchell house. It didn't matter what league, it didn't matter if it was WNBA or NBA or college women or college men. We were watching the game, and so I got to see a lot of great Big 12 women's basketball this past season, and I'm so impressed and so excited and feel so honored that I could come back to a place like Houston that's such a great university, but just a terrific conference. And I am super, super pumped up to be coaching in the Big 12.
Last question with you for this, our first interview. Has anyone or how many people have pointed out to you similarities between your taking over the Houston women's program and to when Coach Sampson took over the men's program and the job that he had to establish a foundation, a culture, and then look at where it is now?
Yeah. Well, let me say this. It's such an inspiration. It's such a proof of concept. You know that it can happen because they were able to do it. And so I wouldn't for one second compare myself to Coach Sampson and his career. He's accomplished so much, but I share so many of his values. I said this in the conference. I have admired him from afar for a very long time as a basketball coach and now as a leader, as you've seen what he's done. And so we are the beneficiaries of what Coach Sampson's done. We are starting at a much, much more advantageous position because of the success he's had. You know, he tells I read a great story, you know, before the Final Four about him walking into Hofheinz and a rat as big as a cat or dog or something ran across his feet. And I haven't seen any rats, Chris. I'm just telling you, that is not what I'm walking into and what we're walking into. And so we are beneficiaries of his work, his players, his staff, the administration, the donors, everybody coming together and elevating this opportunity. So I am grateful to walk into this opportunity. I think competitively it's very similar. I think the program that we have here has potential. And I think Coach Sampson could see that for the men's side. And we have had success here before. You can look at the NCAA tournament trips, and there's been some success here before. And when you think about everything available to us, world-class university, tier 1, top 50 public university, dynamic, diverse campus in one of the greatest cities in the country, and top-notch basketball facilities, great passionate fan base. That going to the Final Four was so exciting for me because I really was able to feel the passion of Coug Nation, and everybody's like, Coach, we're so excited for you. We're so excited for women's basketball. We want to see it do well. So you add that up, and then the players here in the city and the state, we are in an incredible position of opportunity to build a great program. And so Coach Sampson's program is just tremendous inspiration and of great benefit to us.
Final thing, you kind of touched on it there briefly, but what is your message to recruits, high school coaches, parents about Houston Cougars women's basketball under head coach Matthew Mitchell?
Yeah, this is going to be a place where we hope to inspire people, where we hope to inspire players to think about. So young players and families and parents can come attend practices here if it's easy to get to. Our practices, we're going to provide open practices so people can come be inspired no matter what level they might be. Certainly the top level of talent, we want them to come and see themselves in a Coug uniform. But anyone, we want to be a source of inspiration to what this great game of basketball can do for someone, do for a young person, do for a family. You know, my parents had great joy in following me around and watching me play, and I know what it can do to bring a family together. So we want to create that through practices, through games. We want the fans to know that this is going to be a team the way that we play, we can't guarantee you wins or records or championships. We'll have to go earn all of those. But we can guarantee you a team that's going to be fiercely competitive and it's going to be playing for the University of Houston, and there's going to be great pride in being a Coug. And so that's going to be exciting for our fans. We need our fans. We need our fans to get excited. We need them to have some faith, Chris, and see it before it happens. We need to get them mobilized, and we're going to work really hard this summer and fall to get people excited about it. And when it comes to just recruits, they need to know that this is going to be a world-class experience for them to come and learn how to reach their full potential as a person, as a student, as a player. And so for a student, for a young player that really wants an experience that's going to benefit her short term, but also build her and equip her with tools that are going to help her be successful all of her life, that's going to be the opportunity she'll have at the University of Houston. And these high school coaches, I'll end with them. We again want to be a source of education, of inspiration, of friendship and relationship, where they feel like they can come and get value and get professional development and strategic education. We want to provide those opportunities because those are the people who are touching the most people in the game of basketball, and I was one of them. And I just want to always be a source of value for a high school coach here. So we believe it's a great opportunity to lift everybody and inspire people to be their very best, and that's what we aspire to be at Houston women's basketball.
Matthew Mitchell, head coach of the Houston Cougars women's basketball program. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks so much, Chris. Can't wait to see you.
Take care.